Professor Christopher Isike, the Director of the African Center for the Study of the United States at the University of Pretoria, now joins us via video link to weigh in on the tensions between the United States and Iran following the attack. Prof. Chris, good afternoon. Thanks for your time with the SABC at this hour.
Good afternoon, Lizelle. Thank you for having me.
Prof, at this point, what do we know about the group that claimed responsibility for the U.S. drone attack?
Well, they are one of those militia groups in Iraq. They are part of the axis of resistance that have erupted mainly since the 7th of October, attacking, different U.S. installations, military bases, and even preventing the flow of commerce in that region. So basically, they have actually done more than 150 of these attacks, but this one that of Sunday that killed American soldiers is the first one that has claimed lives, and it is actually very serious.
So, Prof, in lieu of that, some are just questioning for context's sake why the U.S. troops are in Jordan and what is Tower 22, of course, the U.S. base that was attacked. Also, what did the group hope to achieve through attacking that U.S. base?
Well, the Tower 22 is located in the northeast of Jordan. It's close to its border with Iraq and Syria. It's a U.S. logistics base or outpost, if you like, that is used to coordinate supplies to different military bases that the U.S. has across the Middle East. But we do know, according to limited information, that there are about 350 U.S. Army and Air Force soldiers stationed in this particular outpost. So in terms of what these militants are hoping to achieve, really is to express their complaints about the ongoing war in Israeli war in Gaza, and they're blaming the U.S. for its military support to Israel in this particular war. So I think the idea is to call attention to the sufferings of the Palestinians and to try and persuade the United States from backing the Israelis in this particular war.
Because a spotlight has been shone on possible tensions escalating between Iran and the U.S. And from the statement in the White House, they said that they were not looking for a war with Iran, but also vowed to have a very consequential response. Iran then retaliating to say that the accusations were baseless and that it was not involved in decision-making of the resistance groups. And so the question about to what extent Iran was involved comes to the fore, and how would you weigh in on that?
Well, it is not clear. Right now there's no clear evidence that the Iranians had any direct linkage with decision making to do this particular attack. But it is known that this group is part of the axis of resistance that different militias. You talked about the Hezbollah in Lebanon, the Houthis also in Yemen. They are all part of these groups, and the one is Iraq's Islamic resistance in Iraq. I think the U.S. is not very sure right now about a direct linkage, with Iran in terms of whether this was a deliberate escalation by Iran. And if that was the case, that would determine how the U.S. would choose to respond, either attacking Iran directly and, of course, risking, provocation of a wider regional war in the Middle East, or if they can show that it was one of those strikes that Iran did not particularly have a direct hand in. And let's not forget that it is also possible that out of the 170 plus attacks that these groups have been attacking on U.S. military installations in that region, many of them have not been very successful. And this could just be one of those that was successful. In other words, it may have not, even the success may have not been intended. So if the U.S. can substantiate that and accept that this was a miscalculation that got lucky for the militias, the response, the U.S. response may not be direct to Iran. It may just continue to strike some of these militia and individuals that are behind it, rather than a direct confrontation with Iran.
Well, Prof, thank you for that, because that was actually my next point, just looking at the options at the U.S. disposal at this time. But you did touch on this point as we wrap up. I want to look at how this attack might fuel the Middle East conflict even further. What concerns arise on that front, and what is the role of the UN Security Council, if at all, at this point, given what's transpired?
Well, the UN Security Council, of course, remember it's limited because of the veto that countries like the US and Russia, China, the powerful five they have. So it's not very effective. But it is interesting that most of them have come out to condemn these attacks. The UK, for example, France. I think I've not heard Russia condemn the attack. So there may be a unified action decision on the Security Council to take targeted measures that can help to prevent these. Because remember, it's not just US military installations, but they're actually, like I said earlier, on disrupting commerce in the seas, and this concerns everyone. So there may be consensus in decision making around how to deal with this particular problem.